Welcome to the Healthy Lifestyle Podcast, brought to you by Telehealth FX, your source for online GLP-1 weight loss and testosterone replacement therapy services. Visit telehealthfx.com to get medically guided access to weight loss peptides like semaglutide and tirzepatide delivered right to your home. That's TELEHEALTHFX.com. Now, here's your hosts.
Okay, be honest with me. How many times this week have you seen someone on your phone holding up a giant bowl of chia pudding or a mountain of black beans, telling you that fiber is about to change your entire life?
At this point, daily. Multiple times a day, actually. And they've all got the same energy, like they've discovered a secret nobody's ever heard of.
Right, and the word for it now is fibermaxxing. That's the trend. The idea is you try to cram as much fiber as humanly possible into every single meal and snack, aiming for 30 grams, 40 grams, sometimes 50 grams a day. And the promise is better digestion, less hunger, better gut health, disease prevention, the works.
And here's the thing that surprised me when we started digging in, because you know me, I walk into these trend episodes ready to be the skeptic. Usually the trend is built on almost nothing. This one's actually different.
It really is. That's what makes today's episode a little unusual for us. We spend a lot of time on this show busting stuff that fell off the back of a truck, science-wise. Fibermaxxing is not that. The core idea, eat more fiber, is genuinely one of the most evidence-backed pieces of nutrition advice that exists.
So the trend is right, mostly, which means our job today is a little different. Instead of tearing it down, we're going to separate the part that's true and worth doing from the part where people take a good idea and sprint straight off a cliff with it, because that part is real too.
Let's start with why this even matters, because I think a lot of people hear fiber and their eyes just glaze over. It sounds like something your grandmother worried about. Bran cereal, prunes, not exactly exciting.
The least sexy nutrient of all time.
Completely. But here's the number that stopped me. Depending on the estimate, somewhere around 95% of Americans do not get enough fiber. 95%. That's not a small gap. That's basically everyone.
So unlike most trends where everyone's already doing the thing and the trend just adds noise, this one is pointing at an actual hole in how most of us eat. The average person is getting maybe 15 grams a day, and the recommendations are a lot higher than that.
Let's put real numbers on it. General guidance lands somewhere around 25 grams a day for women and closer to 38 grams a day for men. Or, if you like a simple rule of thumb, roughly 14 grams for every 1,000 calories you eat. And most of us are nowhere close.
So when a trend comes along and its whole message is, hey, eat way more fiber, the starting instinct is actually good. It's aimed in the right direction. Now, science moment. Let's talk about why fiber earns this reputation, because I don't want anyone taking our word for it.
Yeah, and this is where it gets genuinely impressive. There's a big review published in The Lancet, which is one of the most respected medical journals in the world, and they pulled together nearly 40 years of research, both observational studies where you follow big groups of people over time, and clinical trials where you actually test things directly.
And quick plain English note there. Observational study just means researchers watch what people naturally do and track what happens to their health. A clinical trial is where they deliberately change something and measure the result. You want both pointing the same direction, and here they did.
Exactly. And what they found is that people eating the most fiber compared to people eating the least had something like a 15 to 30% lower risk of dying from heart disease and from all causes combined. That's not a rounding error. That's a serious difference.
There's also a more recent analysis that pooled 64 studies in over 3.5 million people, and it lined up. Higher fiber intake was linked to meaningfully lower rates of dying from heart disease, from cancer, and overall.
And the sweet spot in that Lancet work kept landing around 25 to 29 grams a day, or a bit more. So notice, the evidence is strong and it's pointing at a target that's honestly very achievable. It's not 50 grams. It's not some heroic number.
That's the piece I really want people to hear. The rock-solid science supports getting to roughly 30 grams a day. The fibermaxxing version, the 40, 50, push it to the limit version, that goes past where the strong evidence actually is. It's not that it's dangerous for most people, it's that you're chasing extra credit when most of us haven't done the basic homework yet.
Which is the perfect bridge to the myths, because this trend has a few baked right into it. Myth number 1, and it's the big one. More is always better, with no ceiling.
This is the engine behind basically every maxing trend, right? Whether it's protein, sleep, whatever. Take something healthy and assume infinite amounts equal infinite benefit. And it makes for great video content, because a giant bowl of beans gets attention. Nobody's going viral for saying, quote, increase modestly and be patient.
Strategic moderation does not trend.
Never has. But with fiber specifically, going from 15 grams to 50 grams overnight is how you end up bloated, gassy, cramping, and honestly sometimes more backed up, not less, especially if you're not drinking enough water. People try to max and feel awful and conclude fiber is the enemy, when really they just floored the gas pedal from a dead stop.
Myth number 2. Fiber is just about, staying regular.
That's the reputation, but it's doing so much more behind the scenes. Fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It helps manage cholesterol. It helps steady your blood sugar. And it's a big reason high-fiber meals keep you full.
Today's episode is brought to you by Telehealth FX, your source for online GLP-1 weight loss and testosterone replacement therapy services. Visit telehealthfx.com to get medically guided access to weight loss peptides like semaglutide and tirzepatide delivered right to your home. That's telehealthfx.com. Now back to the show.
Longer. Regularity is honestly one of the smaller items on the list.
Myth number 3, and this one's costing people money, that a fiber supplement or a fiber-fortified snack is the same as fiber from whole food.
Yeah, and I get the appeal. It's easier to rip open a bar than to cook a pot of lentils. But dietitians keep making this point. The real magic of this trend is that it's nudging people to eat more actual plant foods: beans, vegetables, fruit, whole grains. Those bring different types of fiber, plus a whole package of other nutrients that an isolated powder just doesn't replicate. Supplements have their place, but they're the backup, not the foundation.
And that ties into myth number 4, which is subtle, that all fiber is the same. It's not. There's soluble fiber, which dissolves and forms a kind of gel. That's your oats, your beans. That's the one that's great for cholesterol and blood sugar. And there's insoluble fiber, more of your whole grains and vegetable skins, which is more about moving things through. You want a mix, and you naturally get a mix when you eat a variety of whole plants.
So the theme across all 4 myths is basically the trend took a real thing and flattened it into more. And the truth is more nuanced and honestly more doable.
Let's make it practical, because this is where our listeners actually live. If you're sold on getting more fiber, and you should be, how do you do it without wrecking your week?
Rule 1, and if you remember nothing else, remember this: go slow. Add fiber gradually. A good pace is something like 5 grams more per week, not 50 grams tomorrow. Your gut needs time to adjust, and when you give it that time, most of the bloating and discomfort just never shows up.
Rule 2, water. As you add fiber, drink more water. Fiber pulls water into your digestive system to do its job. Skip the water and you get the exact opposite of what you wanted. This is the single most skipped step, and it's the one that causes the most misery.
Rule 3, whole foods first. Think beans and lentils, oats, chia and flax seeds, berries, apples and pears with the skin on, whole grains, and a big variety of vegetables. Nuts too. If you build meals around those, the fiber takes care of itself and you barely have to count.
Rule 4, and I love this one because it's so simple. Spread it across the day. Don't try to hit your whole target in one enormous breakfast bowl. A little fiber at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks is gentler on your system and keeps you full more evenly.
And Rule 5, which pushes back on the whole trend war online. Stop treating fiber and protein like enemies. There's this weird framing right now, team fiber versus team protein. You need both. Beans and lentils, funny enough, give you a nice dose of each. You don't have to pick a side.
Let's paint a real picture, because I think this makes it click. Say you're a busy parent, mornings are chaos, you're barely getting one thing done before someone needs something. You don't need a fiber overhaul. You could swap your white toast for whole grain, toss some berries on your kids' leftover oatmeal, and actually eat it. Throw a handful of beans into whatever you're making for dinner. That right there might close half your gap, and you didn't reorganize your life.
Or the desk worker who eats basically the same lunch every day. One move. Add a side of fruit or stir some lentils into your soup. Small, boring, repeatable. That's what actually works versus buying $40 of fiber powder you'll use twice.
Now let's hit common mistakes head on, because we've touched on some, but I want them in one place. Mistake 1, too much too fast. We've hammered this, but it's the number 1 reason people bail.
Mistake 2, forgetting the water. Same deal.
Mistake 3, going all in on processed fiber-added snacks because the label brags about grams instead of, an apple.
Mistake 4, tunnel vision. Getting so obsessed with the fiber number that you ignore whether your overall meals are actually balanced. Fiber's part of the picture, not the whole thing.
And this is a really important moment for us to be clear about something. For most healthy people, gradually eating more fiber from whole foods is about as safe and beneficial as nutrition advice gets. But it's not for everyone in the same way at the same speed.
Right. If you've got a condition like IBS or inflammatory bowel disease or gastroparesis, or you've had recent digestive surgery, a rapid jump in fiber can genuinely make you feel worse. And some people actually need to limit certain fibers for a while. That's a conversation with your doctor, not a TikTok.
And there's one more group worth calling out specifically because it's so relevant right now. If you're taking one of the GLP-1 weight loss medications, the Ozempic, Wegovy family, your digestion is already slowed down and your appetite's already lower. Piling on a huge amount of fiber very fast can pile onto the nausea and the constipation those meds can already cause.
Which is a good moment to mention the folks who make this show possible.
Today's episode is brought to you by Telehealth FX. If you're exploring medically guided weight loss and you want it done properly, with actual clinicians helping you navigate things like nutrition and medication instead of guessing off your feed, that's exactly what they do. They connect you with medical professionals who build the plan around you. You can find out more about our sponsor over at telehealthfx.com.
And that fits today perfectly, honestly, because the whole theme is do a healthy thing in a way that's actually guided and sensible, not just maxed out because the internet said so.
Which is basically the perfect setup for the reminder we give every episode, and we mean it. Everything we've talked about today is educational. It's here to help you ask better questions. It is not medical advice. We don't know your body, your history, or your medications. Before you make a big change to your diet, especially if you've got a health condition or you're on medication, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian first.
All right, let's bring it home. If you're driving or doing dishes and you only catch this part, here are the 3 things to take with you. Takeaway 1, the core of fibermaxxing is real. Most of us genuinely undereat fiber, and getting more of it is linked to lower risk of heart disease and a longer, healthier life. This is not a fad at its foundation. Takeaway 2, the strong evidence points at roughly 30 grams a day, not 50. You don't need to max to the extreme to get the benefit. Aiming for a realistic target from whole foods is where the payoff actually lives. And takeaway 3, how you add it matters as much as how much. Slow, steady, with plenty of water, mostly from whole plants spread across your day. That's the difference between fiber making you feel amazing and fiber making you miserable. And your one action step for this week, nice and simple. Pick a single meal, just one, and add one whole food source of fiber to it. Beans in your lunch, berries on your breakfast, a pear as an afternoon snack. That's it. Just one meal, one addition, all week. Let your gut get comfortable before you add the next. One meal, one ad. You can do that. And if you do, we would genuinely love to hear how it goes. Drop a comment and tell us which meal you picked and what you added. We read them, and honestly, your ideas help everybody else listening.
And if you know somebody who's been stressing about the whole protein versus fiber thing, or somebody who tried to trend like this and felt awful, send them this episode. It might save it.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to visit our sponsor, Telehealth FX, your source for online GLP-1 weight loss and testosterone replacement therapy services. Go to telehealthfx.com to get medically guided access to weight loss peptides like semaglutide and tirzepatide delivered right to your home. That's telehealthfx.com. See you next time.